that has gained significant attention is the emergence of ChatGPT. That is an advanced language model developed by OpenAI. And for the uninitiated, ChatGPT is a prime example of how AI is enhancing human-computer interactions and opening up new possibilities for product development and customer engagement. So it's just like having your own personal assistant, but without the curfew runs and probably the office gossips, right? So here at Lean Icon, we have embraced the power of ChatGPT and other AI-powered solutions that will take the customer interactions to a whole new level. We are leaving no stone unturned in our quest to automate routine tasks and provide data-driven recommendations. During this webinar, we have gathered a distinguished panel of industry experts and thought leaders who will share their thoughts, their insights, their experiences, and practical guidance on harnessing the power of AI in product management. We encourage you to actively participate, ask questions, interact with our panelists. Sit back, relax, and get ready to embark on this insightful journey. We hope you find this webinar enlightening, inspiring, and full of valuable takeaways so that you can apply this in your product management endeavors. So I'll introduce our panelists for this session. We have three main panelists. There's William, there's Gino, and there's Derek. So I'll start with William. William is a coach, a trainer, and a speaker with extensive experience in guiding enterprises towards achieving strategic objectives through the Skilled Agile framework, Lean, Agile, product management, and technology practices. William's pragmatic approach to adopting new practices has been honed through his work with leading companies such as QA Limited, Philips Research. He's worked with Fujitsu, Lesheho, EY, and Litt. So he has spent much of his career directly coaching leaders. He's worked with agile teams and their management chain on mainly how to drive the necessary changes to become successful at the enterprise level. He does this while recognizing the uniqueness of each environment and the trade-offs that are required to achieve business outcomes. He's a board member, climate change advocate, and an AI enthusiast. So as a dedicated lifelong learner, a leader, a coach, a trainer, and a practitioner in the real world work, William is committed to providing practical, actionable guidance that drives measurable results for his clients. And thank you, William, for joining us. Then we have Gino George. Gino is a seasoned analytics leader and an industry veteran in analytics. So he's passionate about enriching client journeys and maximizing clients' lifetime value through real-time and omni-channel next best experiences. Gino is the founder and CEO of NeoStats. That's a one-stop data and analytics strategy to execution firm. They are based in UAE and India. Their mission is to create lasting competitive advantage for clients by transforming them to world-class data-driven organizations. Their offerings cover the entire spectrum of data and analytics, talking about cloud, strategy and transformation, advanced analytics and predictive solutions, business intelligence, and data governance. Recently, Gino was awarded the Best Analytics and AI Leader of the Year in 2002 in the Middle East Banking AI and Analytics Summit. He has led analytics in notable organizations, which includes the Citigroup in the US, DBS and Standard Chartered in Singapore, and the first Abu Dhabi Bank in UAE. Gino, thank you for joining us. Then we have our third participant, Derek. Derek Digbe is a highly skilled and accomplished senior data scientist based in London in the UK. He has a strong passion for data analytics and machine learning. Derek thrives in the dynamic and fast-paced world of financial technology. So he's currently serving as a senior data scientist at Vanquish Bank. He plays a pivotal role in driving data-driven insights and solutions to optimize business strategies and enhance customer experiences. He leverages his expertise in statistical modeling, predictive analytics, and programming languages like Python, and works with SQL as well. And he has successfully developed and deployed innovative data-driven solutions to improve decision-making processes and drive organizational growth. So in addition to his role at Vanquish Bank, Derek is an esteemed member of the expert working group on the continental AI strategy for Africa. And he has a focus on harnessing the power of AI for socio-economic development in Africa. He actively contributes to shaping strategic initiatives and policies that promote AI adoption and drive innovation across the continent. His expertise and insights are valuable in fostering AI-driven advancement and uplifting communities. Thank you for having you, Derek, also. Yeah. And my name is Carlos Ankra. I'll be your host. I'm an agile consultant and trainer, and also a product manager at Litt Training and Technology. Yeah. So this is what we'll do. Our speakers will give 10-minute presentations each, and then we'll go into a discussion session. So William will be speaking on connecting product management strategy and AI. Gino will speak on becoming data-driven. Derek will speak on customer data platform journey. You can interact by using the question and answer feature on the webinar on Zoom. And or you could post your questions and comments in the chat section. Our speakers will answer them after the discussions. So we'll start with our first presentation from William Cosina. William.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you. And it's an absolute pleasure to join in today's session. And Carlos, if you could help enabling our screen sharing, it would help me share some few slides. I definitely do want to share some slides with our attendees who've joined us from all over.
Litt's team enable the screen sharing for William.
So whilst we wait on that, ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome. We would explore the role of AI and heavily in product management, looking at it from a strategic viewpoint. And as AI has emerged as a transformative force, its application in product management is revolutionizing how we develop and optimize most of our products. Every company delivers a product or service, and all these services can be enabled with the use of AI. The areas I will cover are how AI, and I'll leave more of those areas of data-driven and AI applications to my esteemed panel members. But we will look at some of the insights and how AI automates repetitive tasks, empowering product managers from the leadership to the delivery teams, and ensuring that they can leverage AI throughout the entire product development practices. I'll also look at some best practices that product managers can effectively integrate into their processes in driving innovation whilst driving product delivery. What's important is, in the age of AI, data, and all the tools that we can, they serve as strong enablers that once we acknowledge can help us. Yep.
I think you can share your screen now.
Okay. They serve as strong enablers once we encourage them and work with them within our teams. It will help us serve our customers' needs. And if we take a customer-centric approach to applying the new technology, we would always think about the customer and put the customer first in this entire process. So data, artificial intelligence, and machine learning have become the hottest buzzwords, not only in the world of technology, but in our everyday lives. We are all witnessing the widespread of it. And in our personal lives, we see intelligent systems which are powered by AI becoming increasingly prevalent, and we are using them as well for simple tasks. And some banks are using it for processing loans, using them for shopping, And we are constantly having products that have AI embedded within them. A friend said, William, when you're going to the doctors, you'll be scheduling with the doctors, you'll be scheduling with a bot or an AI enabled tool. I said, I totally agree with that. Now it's so difficult to even speak to any company because most things have been automated and all the information is available. It has its good and bad sides. And sometimes when you want to speak to someone, he said, oh, can I get through this? But I think there's so much information, and the entire process of having AI enabled tools available to us makes our lives even better in the whole process. Whilst we discuss this as well, what we tend to see in today's age is employees being laid off due to the advancement in the new forms of technology. But when we look at product development, AI goes a long way in enabling the whole process. I will take a look at it from a scaled agile implementation perspective. Succeeding with AI from a scaled agile implementation perspective is so critical to surviving and thriving in the digital age. It provides the tools and it enables the development delivery of AI powered solutions. We use the scaled agile framework to organize the teams that will be delivering the products, and we will look at an AI team. I know my esteemed panel members will say, William, there are some people we could also add to the AI team, and I welcome their input into that. And it's also essential that we technology professionals lean into it and collaboratively develop our competencies around these new technologies and understand how they can help us seize critical business opportunities. And as we develop products, there are critical business opportunities or strengths and weaknesses we want to mitigate or strengths we want to exploit to meet our customers' needs. In the SAFE framework, we take a look at three key areas: strategic themes, big data, and then artificial intelligence. And I know these areas will be covered throughout our discussion. An area I would focus on is strategic themes. It influences how our strategy deals with the business context. And we will be looking at how our internal environment would influence our external environment and how we can use that to deliver products or services of value to our customers. SAFE provides us that guidance and framework for large teams who are implementing products and services using AI or any form of technology. And it's an agile framework that would enable the team become high performing teams. But before we can implement any framework, it's important that we add it to our strategic themes. So even if we want to implement AI, we need to look at it from a perspective that it needs to be part of our strategy development. Our leaders are those who are going to drive this entire focus. So the leadership team will first take a look at what is our internal environment, and then analyze what our external environment impacts are. And they'll continuously monitor these two environments to ensure that they develop a strategy which can be executed to enable the delivery of products and services to our customers. And as they constantly perform these duties, can you see my slides?
It's blank.
Carlos, do you see my slides?
Yeah.
As they constantly perform these duties, their focus is to ensure that the product development teams deliver valuable products and services. I'll say there's been so many AI products, but one that most of us would be very accustomed to before ChatGPT was Siri. And Siri was a product that was acquired in 2010 by Apple, and it revolutionized the way we saw the Apple phone. And it was value created as a product. And it was something that Apple saw far back and included in its product offering. So, as an organization, we can either acquire a product, build the product ourselves, and provide it to our customers. So it's not always the case that organizations will be creating a strategy to develop a product. They can also acquire a product in their ecosystem and ensure that that product delivers value for their customers. So, from a strategic perspective, these are the key analysis being looked at from an organization. Have we got our AI strategy? But I'll touch on some other elements that are needed before the AI strategy. Have we got a good understanding of our internal environment impacts? And have we got an understanding of our external environment? This, when overlaid with our product development practices, we see that organizational strategy sits at the very top. And leadership are those who drive the creation of that organizational strategy. Once the organizational strategy is created, there are other incorporating strategies that would be infused into the cloud data and AI strategies. They don't stand alone, they don't stand in silos. We will have our HR strategy, our finance strategy, our operation strategy, and other strategies that come into play to ensure that when we implement our cloud data and AI strategy to deliver a product or service, that product or service will help us meet our organization's strategic objectives. In this instance, the organization will also be looking at how we improve our operational environmental space. We can't just focus on product development or acquiring new products without looking at the operational development area. In the operational development area, we could be looking at robotic process automation, and we could also be looking at how we build capability within our teams so that when we build new AI products or services, the teams can implement those. However, when we take a look at the product development area, using the SAFE framework, we will go through the continuous exploration, continuous integration, continuous deployment. And these are underlaid by our planning, development, launch, growth, maturity of the product, and the decline of the product. For us to build AI into all these products, data must be considered from the onset. And I know Gino will touch on the area. Gino and Derek will look at the area of data, and then we can build the machine learning models. As we are building this into the fiber of our organizations, leaders will be leading the entire process, and managers will be part of it, and the teams would also have to adopt the new ways of working in order for it to thrive and become part of our organizational culture. If all these are not incorporated, we will find that the teams will build great new products or services, and then the internal teams will not adopt them. How much more our customer? So a clear data strategy, a clear cloud data and AI strategy is needed. Then we need to look at our product development stages to ensure that each stage incorporates and thinks about how we embed our cloud data and AI practices to get the product out to our customer. Let's look at a team that will be involved. This is a team that can be involved in the whole process. We will have the AI product owner, the data scientist, the software engineer, the data cloud engineer, the ML infrastructure engineer, and then we will have the agile coach or the scrum master being part of the entire team to enable the development of this process. And each person has their unique expertise to ensure the successful implementations of these technologies. Data scientists will play a crucial role in analyzing and modeling the various complex data, whilst the software designers are responsible for designing and implementing the software. This is a team that can support an organization in its first iteration of building AI into their products or services. Here are some best practices that we can leverage on. For us to go ahead with embedding the new technologies, first we must look at defining our clear objectives. Have we got clear objectives stated? And then we can use objectives and key results, OKRs, to monitor them as we build it quarterly. We should always start small and iterate. These new ways of working have got the tendency of we experiencing more failures. But the more we build it with small teams and grow the teams as we learn, it enables us as an organization improve the whole process. We must collaborate across the various disciplines. It's not just going to be the product development team. We need finance involved. We need regulate the regulatory teams involved. Audit needs to be involved. We need risks involvement, and all these teams would ensure that whilst we collaborate, they support the development teams in implementing the new technologies. Data readiness is also key. As we build products, we could have existing data which will need to be refined as we want to use them for modeling, or as we think of a product, we should think about how we incorporate data into the entire product development process. Let's monitor and evaluate performances. Agile processes provide us the guidance for that. We have review stages, we have retrospective stages, and we have various demos to enable us monitor and evaluate our performances. There's always a need for us to take ethics into consideration when building these products and services for our customers. We should be building it for the general good, not to harm or take advantage of our customers. For all this to succeed, we need to invest in our talent and skills. I'll share the benefits, and during the questions and answer session, I'll spend some more time delving into some of the high-level topics I've talked about. What are some of the benefits? It enables the enhancement of customer insights. We are making accurate data-driven decisions. We are improving the product development process, and we are enhancing user experiences and automating all repetitive tasks. Here are my key takeaways for everyone who's joined. Agile product delivery is grounded in customer centricity, a focus on the customer. AI is only an enabler. This is the most important point for us to always take into consideration. Agile product delivery is grounded on the customer, and AI is an enabler to the whole process. We will apply design thinking to ensure that the solution is desirable, feasible, and viable and sustainable to our customers. Here is a definition for AI, but I know it will be discussed later as well by our speakers. And our speakers will also look at areas of data and algorithm. Finally, the result of product delivery is to enhance business agility with superior outcomes for the enterprise, and we need to focus on serving the customer. What we need is an effective adoption strategy, which involves understanding our existing solution, exploring new areas, and when we conduct that effective internal and external analysis, we are able to serve our customers right. Thank you so much. And I hope, Carlos, I took more time. I sincerely apologize.
That's fine. Thank you very much, William. So attendees, if you have any questions, you can post them in the question and answer session. Based on what William has presented, we'll take them at the end of the discussions. So our next presentation is from Gino. Gino will be presenting on becoming data-driven. So Gino, you can go ahead and share your slides.
Thank you, Carlos, and thank you, William. William and I worked together in one of the recent engagements, and it's a perfect. And I echo everything that William said. AI merged with process and agility is what actually drives a lot of value. So, in the next few minutes, I just wanted to talk a little bit about how do we become data-driven. Now, that's a very often used terminology. So we just wanted to give a high level and a theoretical view of what does it mean to be data driven and what does it mean in the context of an industry, right? So hopefully I think I'll find it interesting and exciting.
Gino, swap your screen. You are showing us the presenter view.
So you can see me now?
So
you can see the slide with the notes section.
So how do you, what should I do?
Display settings.
You see the 3 dots at the bottom of the slide.
At the top, I do see 3 dots. Yeah.
No, at the bottom, where you have the presenter view with the 3 sections. The 3 dots near the video camera icon.
Sorry, so give me 1 second, guys. So I think
it was displaying correctly when you started before it switched, kind of. Yeah. So maybe you can just reshare your slides.
Okay.
Okay, we're good.
We're good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. So going back to becoming data driven. So one of the key things that we always used to hear in the past, data AI was the crowning jewel. But what you see today is data and AI is not something that you keep to the side. It's no longer a good to have capability. It's a must have capability. It's a competitive differentiator. Now, a couple of keynotes that I see is, for example, McKinsey 2021, they did this massive study across the world, and they said banks that are not data first, banks that are not AI first, they risk being overtaken by the competition. So they were very blunt. They said, if you're not AI first, you will fail, right? And the other thing that I also saw that 83% of organizations that tend to do well, they tend to do well because they use better tools, better capability, better people. But then the more important part is that there's a lot of perspectives that actually come in with a lot of people. So meaning that it's no longer one division or one person driving AI strategy. It's more cross-functional and cross-collaborative in nature, right? So kind of echoes the point on what data-driven today means. Now, one of the reasons that we started even Neostats is this whole idea that the world is increasingly becoming hyper competitive. And for us to actually win in today's market and to make that win sustainable. So the idea is to actually build lasting competitive advantage. You need to become a data-driven organization. Now, when you think about data-driven, that essentially comprises of 3 pillars, right? Of course, it starts with data. What it means is, and you would have heard this view, 360 view, 720 view, 890 view. I mean, people have different fancy words, but what it means is an up-to-date, accurate, and complete view of the customer. So no longer that, you have 20 different data silos and you have different versions of truth, but ideally, you need to start breaking down the silos, put together the data on a customer so that you have this complete view of the customer and the single version of truth in a platform that actually makes sense to us. So that's number one. Once you have the data, the second question is, how do you build intelligence on this data? Now, this is where there are typically 2 ways to look at it. One, we gain insights, we report on numbers, but more importantly, we can also figure out across all the product services and offerings of the organization, across the different channels through which I can engage Gino, what's the next best experience? What's the next best action that will maximize the lifetime value of Gino to us, right? So this is where we talk about predictive models and AI and optimization algorithms. The whole idea becoming, hey, you know what? Rather than actually just sell in something or service a customer, can AI be used to enrich the experience of a customer so that the lifetime value gets increasing. And once you have the data and once you have the intelligence, how do you execute those intelligence? And this is where you keep hearing a lot about hyper-personalization and digital. Today, banks and organizations, they want to engage their customers in real time, contextually, with the most hyper-personalized manner, meaning the right message, the right time, the right content, right? And the idea is to increasingly go digital. And last bit, but not the least, is to continuously learn. So once I engage a customer, I measure it. Did the customer like it? Did the customer not like it? And if I can get that feedback back, my intelligence keeps on increasing. So one of the gospels of becoming data-driven is this whole fusion of blending data with intelligence and action so that you engage your customers in a more meaningful manner. Yeah. Now, in terms of a journey, and again, a quick one, and this was a nice study that was actually done by Gartner that said 91% of organizations, now everyone wants to be data-driven, but 91% of organizations are nowhere close to becoming data-driven. Now, there are essentially 5 stages that are typically looked at by Gartner. The first one is basic. Basic means you have data, but it's actually dispersed all over, right? There is no central version of truth. There is no strategy. There is no dedicated champion, right? And I'm sure some of us have actually been in this scenario. Yeah. Number 2 is opportunistic. Yeah. Where we have.
Gino, you muted?
Okay, I am unmuted. So hopefully I can hear me. Yeah. The second thing that we need to know is once you have the data, how do you become opportunistic is when you start blending in the data. People start figuring out strategies, but the strategies are not clearly understood or well articulated. You have 100-page documents. There is no big champion. Data quality is a concern. Most organizations that we see are at systemic level, which is level 3. That's an average state. And most of us are actually in that stage where you have a strategy, but you necessarily don't have a dedicated push or a dedicated vision. You know, agility is emerging. People talk about becoming agile, right? Data, and there are champions and sponsors. But when you talk about becoming differentiated, and you keep hearing this phrase, so Discover or Capcom, when they say data is a differentiator, what they actually mean is, I have a chief data officer or a chief data analytics officer who is kind of a big champion of data within it. I have a well-articulated strategy. I have programs that actually maximize the value. My decisions are increasingly made from data, and they have an ROI attached to it. And the final bit, which is the transformational state, is where the CDO is actually at the board. So in a nutshell, what it actually means is every decision that is being made is being backed by data. Yeah, so that's where you typically go through. I wanted to do a quick video just to actually show you through how Netflix as an organization went through. And when we talk about becoming data-driven, I think Netflix is an example of what a data-driven organization is. So Carlos, I hope you can you'll be able to see, but let me know.
Analytics at Netflix is the backbone. It's everything that we do. It's how we measure what we're doing, how we measure where we're going, where we find new opportunities to test things, or where we find problems to solve.
Netflix has been a data-driven company since the beginning, back in the DVD days, and we've really advanced our ability to use data in many different ways across business organizations as Netflix has grown.
If you ask most company, they'll tell you they're a data-driven company and analytics is important. I think the difference with Netflix is that we really live these values.
Once we find a great metric that measures what we want to do, how do we find out what drives it? So what are the components that cause us to be more or less successful? And then finally, how do we take all of that data and make it available to people to answer their questions whenever they need to?
And it's a great responsibility, too, to make sure that our analytics teams are focused on only the very highest impact projects that are going to move Netflix forward and make a better product for our customers.
So ultimately, I see the role of analytics at any company being to arm decision makers with relevant and actionable information. That can be in the form of metrics, tools, one-off insights, but ultimately we want to come together and make better decisions.
The self-service aspect of our data tools is one of the most critically important aspects that I think is often underrated. The most important thing is that people be able to get the answer that they need when they want it without waiting for my time to be free.
It's actually important now that we're a global company. You know, if you're a marketer in Brazil, in the Sao Paulo office, or if you're in BizDev in Singapore, you need data to make your decisions and to figure out how do you do your best possible job.
We don't think of ourselves as a service organization, and instead we really think about us being the ones who help lead decisions from the business teams and have those decisions be guided by the data that we have at hand. The creative freedom that we have at Netflix is something that has really inspired me throughout my time here and been very, very consistent.
What makes me excited about working here is actually the culture and the people.
It's just really interesting to see the evolution of the problems that we tackle and just the new and interesting ways in which we're trying to leverage data.
It's going to sound a little cliche, but analytics is the fuel that powers Netflix.
I'm always excited by that video because I think that's truly a transformational state where you become, right? So really quick, going through the rest of it, but what does it mean? So this is one of the ways we actually have translated becoming data-driven in real-life scenario, right? So this is about, on the x-axis, you see the maturity of analytics, right? And on the y-axis, you see the value that the maturity brings to the organization, yeah? So most organizations today, you have data. Now, when you get the data, at the very minimum, we need to manage, store, process that data in a regulatory compliant manner, ethically compliant manner, right? So that's where data management comes in. There's not too much value that you are generating out of data, but data management is important. Then the organizations that are actually in the basic stage, they do static reporting. You know, probably you would hear Excel reports, et cetera, coming in. The ones that actually do that a little better, they start getting into interactive reporting. So the Power BIs of the world, the Tableaus of the world come in, right? So self-service. But you see, these are still reactive. Something happened, and then we know, okay, you know what, this is what happened. This is helping you understand. When you become opportunistic is when you move into the predictive space. So I know what Carlos is going to do, or what does Carlos, if I can anticipate the needs of Carlos, and I can engage Carlos with that anticipatory need, so, and then try and influence his behavior, that's when predictive models and AI come into being. That's when it becomes into the opportunistic space. Now, the ones that are actually differentiated, they do these kind of things automatically. They do it much faster in real time, right? And the ones that are really, really transformational, the ones that, so Carlos started the word with ChatGPT. So the ones which are all talking about large language models or generative AI, or where you have the ability to engage with AI in a language that makes sense to you, right? So they no longer need structured data or inputs or whatever. You can talk to them in whatever language, and that's when the general AI comes in. So some of the big names, right? Microsoft is a big one over there, and I think now they are actually even doing better than Google and Amazon. So we just wanted to actually show you how that traditional curve looks like. And the path to get there typically is done by a very high functioning team. You do it agile with a time-bound ROI. You do it with partners that actually have done it before. And you don't have to do this one by one. It's no longer sequential in nature. You have off-the-shelf fintech capabilities that can help you leapfrog the solution. Yeah. And you know, so this obviously means from a technology side, you need the right set of capabilities in data, intelligence, and action, where you break down the internal data, you get external data, you leverage cloud, you look at AI platforms, you look at marketing platforms, but then there is typically an end-to-end tech architecture that needs to support these kind of journeys. And with those kind of journeys, data analytics, for example, in bank, that can be across the entire customer lifecycle. In bringing you new customers, selling new customers, deepening your existing relationship, retaining them, driving digital, driving innovation, driving risk, right? So I think one of the key things is, to the earlier point, AI is a fundamental enabler across the life cycle, across every single process of the bank. Yeah? And I will leave it to you with this thought that now we are talking a lot about Neuralink and we becoming cyborgs, and we are going to go through the Terminator phase, right? So, but I think it's important in terms of AI, right? So you can see when when the human race was originally formed, the green line represents the intelligence or the increase in intelligence of the human brain, right? So this is the intellectual power. And you see, with time, our intelligence has grown, right? You learned from whatever your generations did, you learned, and our human brain has increased, right? Our intellectual power has increased, and but that has been typically linear, right? It has increased in better. AI, for example, happened only as late as 1950s, right? That's when AI happened. But the ability of the machines to learn is fundamentally transformative. You can see the rate at which the red line represents the rate at which machines are learning. So this is why the Elon Musk of the world, the ChatGPT guy, Altmans of the world come and say, hey, we need to make sure that there is enough regulatory oversight, because this machine intelligence is actually coming in really, really fast. And somewhere down the line, there are different versions of truth, but there are people saying 2042, 2020, etc. That's where the machine intelligence, which is the red line, will match human intelligence. But then the rate will continue to improve. And that's where you talk about transhumans and cyborgs and whatnot. So it is an exciting time. It's a very important time. And I think AI, if you look at all the revolutions that have happened, right? Maybe the industrial revolution, the Y2K revolution, the internet revolution, the AI revolution that we are going to see is fundamentally going to be very, very radically different and transformative than any of the revolutions that we see. So perhaps something that we should embrace sooner the better. That's pretty much what we wanted to cover. Carlos, back to you, but I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. There are a number of questions, but Derek will share his presentation, then we can now start taking the questions. Yeah, Derek. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, William and Gino, for the first presentation. I think it's been an exciting one, listening to you and then the kind of work you do in this space. Just as you mentioned throughout the presentation, I think the most important thing is recognizing a need and then being able to apply what in simple terms like we see to be a superpower or sort of an enabling opportunity to effect that and then bring in the value that we want. I think for many of our conversations around AI in the past years has been nothing but anything that will help us to bring some sort of value. And so for our points as developers of these products and services, there are three key things that we tend to be looking at even before we think about embracing the idea of the development in which companies like Netflix, like as Gino showed, or even any other big tech company do go through. We normally go through the proof of concept points, and this mostly we do them because we just want to have an exploration to sort of validate in terms of feasibility any idea that you may want to work on. So even before we think about implementing a machine learning model, we look at it from the proof of concept point of view by trying to do a small scale solution just to demonstrate the viability of such machine learning algorithm or machine learning system that we may want to build. And then just as I mentioned, we tend to do that because we sort of have some segment of customers that may want to understand before we can even think about like using other method like the prototype. Prototype goes beyond the proof of concept because here we just want to create a functional representation of the final model that we want to build. And we normally use some sort of larger data set. I will explain that one as we go on. It also involved that we do some iterations to get our feedback from our stakeholders who are involved in making sure that we design this functionality to work. When we go beyond the proof of concept and then the prototype, we build what we call the MVP, which is called a minimum viable product. This tend to take a step beyond the prototype and then now emphasize more on features that are necessary to deliver the kind of value we need for our stakeholders. So in all of these, what I'm trying to convey here is we have a lot more time to spend validating an idea before we even think about developing. I mean, of course, we just don't want to develop anything fancy and then put it in the context of, yeah, because there's AI, it is time for all of us to go into the market and then start producing AI products or AI services for our customers and spend millions of pounds or cedis and we don't get any value for that. I mean, no company will ever do that. And we don't do that because, like I mentioned, the most important thing is the return that we are going to get on the investment that we have. So if you look at William's presentation, he spoke so much about some of the things that need to be done in the age of AI for product development. He talked about investing in talent. And if you have to invest in talent, it means a lot of money, like taking someone to read a master's degree program or even a PhD. In a typical UK investing means that you are spending a lot of money to make sure that they go through the school, like to come up and then come and join the company or even do certification courses, like all of that involves a lot of money. So what do we have here is, let's say we have a very small product or a big product. You have a small startup or a company and you are looking at your customers because customers are the lifeblood of every business and customers are the ones that bring us the data that we need. So all of these data that we want to gather and then use it to run the business, it is the customers that we want to come from. Now, customers perform a lot of activities for every business. So whether it's a bank, like in my case, we have 3 products that we give our customers. Provide credit cards, we provide loans, personal loans to our customers, and we provide vehicle finance. So if you want to buy a car, when you see people in car in the UK, don't think that they bought it. They normally go for loans to come and buy the car. So, I mean, these are kind of services that we provide to our customers. And our target is mostly a segment, like we look at a very important segment, like people who like come from minority. We look at people who probably have bad credit scores and all of that. Those are the target that we tend to be looking at to serve in the UK. And so we have a lot of customer base, but our most important product that we work on is the credit cards. So we provide credit cards in various means to our customers. Now, when we have these sort of customers, we also look at payment arrangement from the customer's point of view. So every credit card means that you need to pay. We will get interest on it, and then interest will give us some revenues to be able to also run our business, pay our workers, or any other thing, including myself. Now, all of that means that we need to build something called a customer data platform. Now, this helps us to track all of our customers in various forms, the kind of data that we gather from them, from all of these sources that we have. So for every single product that we want to work on, I find myself in the machine learning team. We're responsible to make sure that we're able to gather all of the necessary data point that we need to be able to work. So in our Microsoft SQL servers, for example, a lot of tables arriving from our customers that we deal with. We work directly with the credit reference agencies. So the kind of data that we get from our credit reference agencies and the kind of work that we're able to do internally, all of these help us to understand our customers better. So if I want to understand a single customer, I want to understand it from the point of their demographics, in terms of their employment, in terms of even their household, how many people are living in their houses, their level of education, all of that help us to do well, because the credit reference agencies helps us to know in terms of the data that we have, the kind of customers that we are dealing with, so that we don't end up probably giving to customers who may not be able to even fulfill their obligations as paying back into that. So we build these to help us to understand our customers well, and then sort of provide them with some personalized information or personalized solution. And so when you have a credit card, for example, during your payment, you have a lot of options. I mean, when you don't pay the balance on your credit card for first month, second month, third month, like you're mostly on delinquent. That's just one payment down, two payment down, three payment down. You start likely to start going on default. Like, because we do not want all of these to happen at every point, we have models that we are building that are able to help us to track all of these things that happen. And so if you look at something very simple here, it is more of all of the, ideally, the kind of data that we want to gather to bring together, so we are able to sort of solve the problem that we have gotten in all the time when we have to work on our customers. And indeed, just as we do this, it means that we've got some very interesting things that are coming from us. I mean, the model lives in their environment, but the impact comes from how we're able to convey everything that we have analyzed, the analytics that we've done, and then make sure that the kind of stakeholders that we work with internally are able to understand the point that we're going from. So obviously, our stakeholders interestingly want to know how we are fulfilling in terms of how we are engaging our customers. Of course, in the UK, for example, one of the things that is more important is every means that you want to engage a customer is defined during the customer journey, like the process of onboarding. So if a customer say that you can only reach me via my LinkedIn page, and that's the only way you have to look at a personalized way of reaching those customers. If you say you can call me, then that's the way you need to also, so we have call centers where we can talk to customers all the time. And so when we do this, it's helping us to know which way we are going to engage our customers. Then in terms of how our services are also provided, some customers may want to negotiate on the level at which they want to pay their balance on their cards. And so we need to find a way to make sure that each customer has a personalized way of doing that, so that we can keep retaining all the customers we have while even bringing new businesses on that. So this is because we are in a market where there are a lot of competitors all providing several solutions. So if we are in the age of AI, that means that for all the models that we're building, we should be able to provide ones that are able to help us to streamline this and then gain advantage over our people who we are working with. And obviously, when this happens, we are going to drive growth. We are going to see more numbers, our numbers increasing. We are going to see more of our credit card customers or other businesses keep doing business with us, because we're able to help them on how they are able to keep track of their finances as well. Now, how it works, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, every solution that we want to do, like, it's not just because we've got some data resting in our SQL server, and that means that we should be able to go in there and extract every data that is there. We look at the kind of data that we need for every problem that we have. And so obviously we start talking by engaging our stakeholders within the bank and outside the bank, what they want, and how we're able to translate what their problems into data problems, so we can go in there and gather the kind of data that we need to solve their problem. So that piece of data becomes our data set. Now, this data set is where we now go forward to build what we call a single view. And so when you put a single customer there, we're able to understand all the information that we need on such customers. These help us to make available the best decisions so that we can solve the kind of problems that they have. Then again, like I said earlier, we are more interested in looking at the value that this data platform brings to us. But one thing that I also didn't have to, I didn't talk about is what really goes into these data that I'm just looking at the data points. I'm not talking about the other infrastructure that goes into this. So it's not just about the data, it's about infrastructure. It's about, I do want to do it on the cloud. And if you even want to do it on the cloud, what kind of services on which cloud are we looking at? Are we looking at using AWS? If you're looking at AWS has over 300 services. Now, which of these services are we able to decide on? So in building this, it's a whole business on its own that involves every part of every single unit within the company. So our CEOs involved, everyone is involved to be able to understand or appreciate the kind of goals that we have got. What are we doing? Why do we think that we need this solution? How do we integrate into the existing business that we have? And how do we make sure that once we activate these services, actually able to bring out the value that we need? And so planning these involve not just the data sources that we are gathering, but like I also mentioned, the kind of infrastructure that we need, the kind of people we need to put on the team, what kind of people, what kind of skill set do they have that we can put on our company to work on this project. Now because this project will definitely tell us the way we are supposed to go forward. Now we are in, like we mentioned, I mean, a lot of predictions that we made in the latter part of last year was that we are going to see more of AI adoption in 2023. And by December, January, we're already seeing that. Large language models are currently the hottest thing everybody is investing in. But as we do more large language models, we also see that we are also thinking about what kind of infrastructure do we need to hold that. So why companies are investing in making sure that their cloud provide all the essential services that businesses will need. Like Microsoft, for example, just last week launching what they call the Fabric. It all means to bring all the solutions that we need together. But at the same time, we're also looking at how do we make sure that the devices that we're also working on become so good that you can actually build or train every model, no matter the data set, locally on your devices. And so if you have seen yesterday or a day before, there's so much talked about NVIDIA because they've been able to become a $1 trillion company because of what they are doing in their chips. What this means is that we're going to see more of this revolution. But like my two previous speakers, William and Gino, all mentioned, it doesn't start from where you've seen us now. It started because there were so many decisions that have to be made. These decisions are not just because you are a data scientist, so I'm a data scientist. I'm just that smallest part of the entire business. The business works without me. The business can still grow without us. But what we bring is the fact that we bring up-to-date understanding of if we do A, we're going to get this value based on all the validation process that we've gone through, from the POC to building a prototype and then presenting an MVP. That is a step that we go through to get these solutions done. So no matter the number of codes or lines of code that I write, it doesn't bring anything until you're able to validate it through these processes. And that's why it is important that as we keep doing this, we'll look at the entire business and we'll look at how it's able to go through the channels to bring the value that the businesses need. And I think this will help us to facilitate or know the growth or the usage of AI in this age. Thank you very much for your listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Derek. And thank you to all our speakers, William, Gino, and Derek. So there are a number of questions in our Q&A section. So this is what I'll do. I'll take a few questions from the panelists, then we can now take from the attendees. So William, let me start with you first. So AI has been disrupting various industries, and product management is no exception. It's crucial to understand the significant ways in which AI is transforming product management and how product managers can leverage this technology to drive innovation and improve product development processes. So two-in-one question. What are some of the most significant ways that AI is transforming product management? And how can product managers leverage AI to drive innovation and improve product development processes? Let me take that bit again. What are some of the most significant ways that AI is transforming product management? And how can product managers leverage AI to drive innovation and improve product development processes?
Plus, you can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. From the point of strategy, when an organization agrees to start going to deliver a certain set of products, it requires that product managers perform market research analysis and then benchmark the products they want to deliver for the market. So there's that initial research area where product managers have to spend a lot of time understanding why we want to go into this particular product market before we can go down the lane of using design thinking to get to a point of prototyping and MVP. The entire market research area looks at the customer, and Derek talked about a customer-centric view using the data which is available, and he talked about the various credit reference agencies that are able to provide the data that is available. So just from the onset, understanding the product, understanding the competitors, understanding the customer, product managers can harness the available data so that they can make informed decisions and inform the business whether it's worth delivering such a product to return revenue, profit, or to support a particular existing product that is in existence. So having that data, having the data scientist working alongside at the very front end of understanding whether we should go ahead with this product or not would help us know whether it's worth going ahead or not. If our competitors have already delivered such a product, then we should be asking ourselves, what unique selling point are we providing that would make this product sell for our customers? What could we add? What could we take out? What, importantly, should we not do to enable us serve this particular market? So in the area of market research, understanding the customer, AI, and let's just say the data scientist team provide a lot of support for product managers so that they can carry out the right market research analysis, benchmarking, so that with trend analysis, they can be able to say, are we delivering the right products? Would we meet our business objectives? Would we serve the customer? And importantly, would we be profitable as a company? So that market research and trend analysis can enable product managers serve the organizations much better. And we can also, through that, identify various market opportunities.
Well,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, William. Gino, my next question is for you. Okay. So you were talking about customer experiences. So when it comes to delivering exceptional customer experiences and fostering meaningful customer engagement, AI has emerged as a powerful tool for product managers. How can product managers use AI to enhance customer experiences and let's say improve customer engagement. And let's say we could also say, what are some of the most successful examples of AI-powered products in this area? Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Carlos. So I think AI by itself will not be a differentiator, but a blend of the right set of data fueled by AI and that execution angle that does bring in a lot of differentiation, right? So I think, like William mentioned, one is understanding the customer need, right? The unmet needs, etc. AI can actually be a big enabler in identifying what are the market trends, what are competitors offering, what does customers want, right? And through that, execute the right set of action. An example I can give you is in the UAE context. So typically, for example, the way, for example, spend offers that typically people get is, oh, once in a month, you probably get an offer saying spend 20% on some food shopping, and then you get some rewards back, right? So the last bank that I worked with, one of the card subsidiary was a wholly owned digital enterprise, right? And there was an ask to actually build a true AI-powered engagement for customers to radically differ from the rest of the competition. So what happens is, so the folks who know Dubai, that, for example, it's all geolocated, right? And it was an app. So the idea was, when you log into the app, one of the pop-up shows, hey, Gino, we would like to actually geolocate you so that we can engage you with the right set of offers. Are you okay? Are you not okay? So that it's compliant, right? So let's say I say I'm okay. Now there is real-time geolocating that's happening on you with your consent, with your express consent. So let's say you are shopping in Dubai Mall. Because we have geolocated you, we know where Gino is. Because Gino is an existing customer, through AI, through predictive analytics, we know what Gino's preferences are. Does he like to shop for footwear? Does he like to eat out? Does he like movies? Is he a family man? Is he not, right? And then across the different offerings, I know what is the next best experience for Gino, right? Now, what it happens is, I know Gino is in Dubai Mall. I know what kind of offerings matter to Gino. Because I'm also a bank, I know the merchants in Dubai Mall, which are in the next 50-meter radius, right? I know there's H&M. I know there is Starbucks. I know there is Walk Cinemas, right? Now, imagine I can get this data in real time. I can score that Gino and say, hey, Gino, 25 meters ahead, there is Starbucks. Would you like to take a Starbucks? And you get 30% off. Now, that is real-time AI in action, real-time message sent in action with a personalized offer for Gino. And you get that offer only in real time, right? And that offer is not valid after 6 hours or 12 hours, right? It's real time, and it's changing consumer preferences and behavior. I would not have gone for that latte unless I would have gotten this message. So this real-time geolocating, real-time AI, and real-time execution, I think, is something that has worked wonders. And it's one of the examples through which even organizations such as banks that traditionally were a little more slower entrant to the game are fundamentally using the way or engaging the way the customers are.
Right. Yeah, thanks, Gino, for that. So the third question, Derek will take that. Okay, so Derek, so to effectively harness the potential of AI, it's essential for product managers to ensure that their teams are equipped with the necessary skills and expertise, right?
Yeah.
The ability to navigate the complexities of AI and integrate it seamlessly into product development processes, I think it's quite key to staying competitive in today's market.
Yeah.
Now, how can product managers ensure that their teams are equipped with the necessary skills and expertise to effectively leverage AI in product development? And let me just add the second part of the question. And what are some of the most important skills and competencies that product managers need to develop to be effective in this age of AI? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for this question. I think, yeah, in throughout our conversations, I think things that have been clear is product management is an important piece of like the entire goal of an organization, or like even if it's a standalone thing. But one thing that is also clear here is there is so much similarities when it comes to what product managers do and what even the new technology that is giving us this power also do. I mean, everything has gone beyond understanding problem. Everything starts with getting the problem understood. So getting your problem understand, or the clarity with which the objectives, the constraints, and the desired outcome are defined, obviously start the way we implement every solution. But that also means that it requires a lot of training. It requires a lot of people having experience on what product they are even working on and how those products actually solve the kind of problems they understand, the kind of limitations that product has. It also means that we need to start small. I think starting small has always been a way we can always keep our focus and then be manageable with what we want to do. So, and the first thing is understanding that there is a need to only appreciate a certain segment or a subset of the problem to be addressed initially. Because when you narrow down the scope, you can learn and iterate faster. You can ensure that there is some sort of a more efficient way to solve that problem. This also goes back to learning to appreciate the very thing, which is the problem. Learning to really have a full grasp of what the problem itself is. Like I always say that in our part of the world, I mean, Ghana or Africa, we tend to solve problems very hugely because we just look at it from the context that, hey, for example, there's too much traffic in Accra. I mean, that is a full context that we give. But you go to some part of Accra during the time when you think that there's traffic around airports, you go to some part around probably Nima, you're not going to see the same traffic. So it's holistically, it is about being able to narrow down that this is the problem that we have identified, being able to scope through every limitation of it and then understood it. Then thirdly, we need to always do that by doing. I mean, we learn by doing. So if product managers are taking courses on how to code in Python, how to use Snowflake, how to use Streamlit to build a simple dashboard, it is not just by only studying, but being able to come back to the, okay, yeah, the company has this amount of data. I'm learning how to use Snowflake. I'm learning how to work with Snowpack. I'm learning how to use Streamlit. I need to come back and then do exactly the same thing that I'm learning to just understand that, yes, I'm having a dive-on implementation. I'm doing experiment with all the different techniques, all the approaches to solve this problem. That particular experience will help us to understand the problem. It will help us to understand the limit to which even this AI that we're looking at. For example, it is quite easier to say that, yes, I've been able to use an LLM like ChatGPT or BAT to generate some sort of information. But the point is, are we able to actually deep down go into how some of the limits on the application has gone, so that we understand that there's some sort of information that I can just ask these applications to do for me and then be able to get it back for me as well. So learning by doing is what will guarantee that kind of success. The next thing is always seek guidance. I think we understand that in this world, people are always available to help only when you ask them. Engaging with everybody, joining forums like what we're doing now, participating in competition that I actually allow you, connecting with mentors within the company, within the organization. It's all part of the way that we are able to leverage on and then learn more. Learning from experienced practitioners and even seeking feedback always has a way to help us to grow better. It's not just about just learning, but it's about, because we've got experienced people who you are learning from or who you are learning from. I mean, when I joined my current company, one of the things that was more important was, yes, there's a product team, but we can't just build your model that you think without talking to them, without engaging them on a course and more stakeholder engagement. That is what we almost do, to be able to understand their problems and then emphasize on building problems or solutions for them. What is more key here also is document everything that you do, emphasizing on documentation. I mean, document every step of what we are doing, including every step, like in the data understanding. I mean, for us as data scientists, one of the things that we do is we do more work on understanding the data that we are working with. We do more work on understanding the features that we are working on. And I mean by features, all the data points that we have. We spend more time on doing that. We spend more time on even understanding what kind of models we are supposed to select. We spend more time on understanding the metrics that we are even supposed to use. So we spend all of these times, and then the most important thing is if we don't document them, we won't be able to keep track of the work that we do, which will obviously serve as a valuable resource for future references for people who come and join the team later, or even ourselves who will probably do this and again. The next thing is we need to always evaluate and iterate. I think assessing the results of what we do is more important. Almost all the time, we need to analyze our strength. We need to analyze the weakness of every approach that we use. We incorporate feedback because within the organization, like I said, if I join an organization like where everybody works now, I'm not going to be able to succeed as a data scientist, no matter the skill set that I have, no matter the experience that I think that I have previously. But more importantly, being able to work with everyone, understanding what everyone does, getting feedbacks from what I'm also going to do, relying on their domain knowledge, and then also allowing myself to be mentored or refined and then help every solution that I want to do. This way, we can obviously do a better work in this time. Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for that one, Derek. There are a number of questions from the Q&A. Some are coming from LinkedIn, actually. So we are streaming on LinkedIn and YouTube. And the recording will be on YouTube anyway. So for those asking, the recording will be uploaded. It's already on YouTube anyway, And there's one question which is quite related to a question I wanted to ask William. It's on the ethical considerations. So William, what are the ethical considerations and challenges that arise when implementing AI in product management? And how can they be addressed to ensure responsible innovation?
I think generally in product management, we have that ethical considerations when developing a product. And Gino talked about the product embedded with geolocation. And Derek has extended the look on the product stages where you've got an epic, you've got a feature, you break it into stories, and throughout the process, you are engaging the data team or the team that will build models to help you refine the backlog and ensure that the backlog will meet the expectations of your MVP when delivered. As product managers, product owners, and the teams that are involved, personally, I'm also well aligned with what Microsoft shared as responsible practices that needs to be taken care of. One, as a product owner, you should be thinking fairness. You should be building products that should treat all people fairly. So if you are going to build a product that will serve a particular customer segment, you should always put fairness into consideration when you are building that particular product. Microsoft talks about reliability and safety. They also share on privacy and security, inclusiveness, transparency, accountability, which are the 6 practices that should be taken into consideration. When we bring all of this into one big basket, what we should always be looking at is continuously monitoring all of this. Are we fair in our practices? Are we the product we're building, would it be reliable and safe for our customers? Are we taking our customers' privacy and security into consideration? Are we building an inclusive product? Of course, I know some products are to serve a particular market segment. As Derek said, we could be having a product that will serve highly valuable customers. Even when serving those highly valuable customers, we should think about how the product would impact them and fairly ensure that we engage all the personas that will be involved in that particular market segment. There is the need to be transparent so that when we build a product that will serve a particular customer segment, we know that we're thinking of that customer group and we would be accountable for the systems we build. So it means that every day we're monitoring and building these principles into our product build. Not only should it be the responsibility of product managers, it should be something that the product managers should create as a vision and share with the product team, share with key stakeholders, and everyone becomes a key player in ensuring that these ethical responsibilities are being taken care of, and it does not only sit on the shoulder of the product owner. Of course, I know we've got great product owners and good product managers. When everything is put on their shoulders, they might forget and things could go the way we don't expect. So everyone should be part of the whole process.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. We all need to be part of that whole process. Very important. Gino, I'll pose this to you. So one comment from Sir, he says, excellent presentation. I'm sure that's for all of us. Are we to be afraid of the human layoff in the near future if AI is making all the necessary tasks for organizations?
This is a very contentious topic, but I am by definition an optimist person, and I'm always thinking that, you see, if you look at it, the human intelligence is still higher than the machine intelligence. So that by definition, people who've seen it up and close, right? The Sam Altmans of the world, Elon Musk, that's why they propagate, hey, this needs to be controlled and governed. And they have ways to control and govern, right? So there are two prospective things about this one, right? One, you have a scenario where you are competing with each other, but do we really have to compete with each other? So if you look at it, on 26th of May, Elon Musk, his Neuralink got the approval from US FDA to test Neuralink in human brains. So Neuralink is a small chip that they cut open the skull, put it, and then they have the ability to intercept the brain signals that come from neurons. Now, once you can intercept it, you can control computers, you can control other parts of the body. Now, that's expected to make the blind see, the paralyzed walk. He's super, yeah, and it can actually give you immortality. Why? Imagine you can actually implant into your brain. Every recording in the brain can now be downloaded into a chip. And when your physical body is about to expire, I can look at the next person or a robot and upload all my memories and all my things. This is reality, right? This is reality, this is controlled. And we are talking, the world as we see in 10, 20 years is going to be fundamentally different, right? And this is happening. And he thinks that the operation can be done in less than 30 minutes with no general anesthesia needed, right? My point is, I believe in a scenario where you merge AI with human intelligence, right? Where we would coexist and human beings will have the upskill and the ability to actually govern the AI that's actually underneath this. Now, if you listen to folks like Musk, things like job loss, etc., are not really an issue, right? I mean, we talked about it when the internet came, when the typewriters came, right? When the every time, but nothing happened. Human beings as a species evolved better. So I'm probably biased in saying that, and I probably have very little information to base this on, but I think AI is an existential threat, but I think humans as a species will have the ability to govern and control it so that, we don't face that existential threat.
Right. Great one. Okay, so our time is almost up. Let me take the last question. Derek, you take this last question. So it's a two-in-one. Festus says, does one need to necessarily have knowledge in neural networks and machine learning modules to be able to excel as an AI product manager. And then he adds, as a product owner, would an MBA in business analytics help to position you better deliver data-driven products or data analytics as a better choice? Yeah.
Okay.
Or data analytics is a better choice. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. The first part I want to talk about, I think it has to do with whether or not you need the knowledge of neural networks to succeed as a product manager. The whole idea is, I mean, neural networks are also part of like ways you can use to build models. Like you can actually decide to build models by using a neural network, because that is more or less like learning by representation. And so the patterns within the data that you may want to discover or uncover to be able to accelerate the kind of solution that you may want to use. Because the insights you are interested in gathering, I mean, everybody could be using the same technique to do that, but you may decide to go beyond that and do so. Every business, every part of the business, everyone in the business, I mean, need to learn every way to do that. I'll give you a typical example of what happened when we wanted to use the spreadsheet. When the spreadsheet evolution started, most of the thing that we had was we needed to create a unit within the organization of which people will be responsible for managing the spreadsheet. And so we still have in the organization currently where you go and then people like, hey, if I have a problem with the spreadsheet, we need to call someone who's the expert in the spreadsheet to come and fix it. Like we all decide to leave that to that person to take care of that. When the internet started, we had the same issue where we say that even in IT, I mean, the IT team in every organization, I mean, people are not able to fix their cables to their computers. And then, hey, you have to call IT. And the IT guy is on leave. The person has to come and fix that. I mean, I have the problem where someone went to work and there was no electricity, and the person called the IT and said, my computer is not on. So the guy went through several questions. Like, do you have light? He said, I don't have light. If he told me he didn't have electricity, I would have been able to solve the problem then. But I mean, he kept going back and forth and all of that. So I did not want to just highlight on the fact that, I mean, we discovered that in the past evolution that we've had with work, going through the first, the second, the third, and the fourth industrial revolution, we are talking about the fact that AI is going to power that. I mean, we've not seen even 10% of what AI could do to the world. We're expecting that we should be able to create a value of over $1 trillion by the year 2030. And we are just in 2023, seeing a lot of impact that this is making, seeing a lot of people who are changing their jobs, people having to learn new skills to be able to align to what we are seeing now. It wouldn't be safe for me to say that not everyone should be able to have a good knowledge of what we're doing, but fundamentally, we'll do. A fundamental knowledge in every part of what really goes into building a machine learning model will do. I mean, most of the managers that we even work with now, most of our directors that we work now don't really need to have a certificate or anything to do that. They really need to have a fair knowledge of how the product works. I mean, how a product works. I mean, if you're a product manager, if you're a product owner, you understand that your knowledge is more important than even someone like me who don't have anything about going to work in a hospital, and then they design a lot of systems that collect the data, and I'm supposed to work on that as a data scientist. Like, I don't have anything to do there because I'm only going to be running models. And then I'll build any model and then put it out there, which will not even generalize well and bring the kind of investment or return that we have. So it's important that, one, we let our experiences that we have learned with the products guide us on working with any AI product. That way, we are not losing anything. We are helping to build the best. That's why every organization, most of the thing that most organizations wanted to do was not to hire people who were coming from school. Like the question asked, do you need to have a knowledge in data analysis, masters, blah, blah, blah. Like that kind of thing isn't what companies are going to look for. Companies will be looking at people who already have the knowledge in that particular business, that particular product, and they can learn on top of it this new knowledge and then add to grow the business. That way, it fits so well with what we are doing. I mean, for example, we tend to spend a lot of time gathering data because most times we may be working on a product where the stakeholder who has that knowledge in that particular product that we are working on. And so we tend spending time having to read. I mean, someone like who has a finance background, I don't have any finance background. That means I need to spend time to understand what we're doing before we can do that. So that certificate in data analysis, in blasters, in data science is not exactly how it works out in the real world. We don't do that. In the real world, like I said, it's more of your experience. It's more of what we know on that product that we work on, that business that we run, backed by that knowledge that you have. Because, I mean, when you are in school, the things that we learn mostly don't impact well or don't help us a lot when we are on the field working. Because on the field, we learn so much from the company, we learn so much from the business. So that business knowledge is more important here. And that is why, even if you are schooling, you need to spend time having to apply for jobs, having to look at what the job's requirements are, having to understand that the job requirement is what actually puts you into perspective to be able to work well when you want to do so. But I think that learn both sides, which is help us to grow. Yeah.
Okay, so our time is up. I want to end the session, but there's one question I want to put out there. This one, I just need a one-liner from anyone. Should there be a regulatory body for AI? Anyone can answer that.
Yeah, we do so. We do need them. Yes, we human beings, like I said, we've not been able to even gather 10% of what AI can do for us. The powers keeps coming. It keeps expanding because we're gathering more data. The more data we gather, the more it means that we feed this system that we are built with it, and they learn. Even though we have not been able to build what we call a generalized version, all we are building now are things like a feedback system. So I give you the information or the data. I want this question from that, and be able to do that for me. But we get to the point where now it can generate on its own. That is when it becomes the dangerous time. And that is where we are hoping to do so, because that is the age that we want, but we are still in process. So yeah, the regulation is more important.
Yeah, okay. Gino, William, do you want to add something to that before we close the session?
No, I think on the regulatory, this is the only case in the entire history of human race where the industry called for regulation, right? Yeah. It is not like the government asked for regulation. The people like Elon Musk, Sam Altman called for regulation. Yeah. So that's a very interesting bit, right? I am the one who is making something and I'm saying, hey, somebody please monitor and check whether I'm okay. Yeah. That's a fundamentally different perspective, right? So absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So there's a poll for the participants to take. We just want some feedback from you on the session that we are just having. Let me just, in rounding up the session.
Hello, should I say? We want
a
progressive regulator, a more progressive regulator, not a regulator who will put hindrances.
Well, yeah. So, thank you guys. Thank you very much for attending this webinar. This webinar was brought to us by Lean Icon Technology and Training. With Lean Icon, we are a leading provider of services in consulting, in coaching and training we try to drive agile digital transformation. We currently run some courses in practical agile business analysis. We have courses in Safe Scrum Master, and then agile product management as well. So you can visit our website on leanicontechnology.co.uk to look at the various courses that we offer. We'll be coming up with a bootcamp, an agile software development with AI bootcamp for 9 months. And this is going to be very practical and hands-on. And it's going to be role-focused training with professional certifications. And we are going to include real-world objects and their internship opportunities too. So you can check up on our website and have all the details. There are some events that are upcoming also. We'll be having one event in June that's why agile digital transformation. This would be our speakers will be Daniel Persona and Michael Pulley. And then we have another one on leadership and coaching. For that, we have Shirley Thompson and William would be taking that event for us. So we'll be looking forward to you to attend those sessions. We have communities, agile communities, where it provides the platform for business professionals where we meet to discuss and support each other in our various job roles. So we have the agile transformation community, and we have the product management community as well. The links to those communities will be posted in the chat, so you can click on it to join. Thanks very much, especially our speakers and panelists for joining us in this session, and for all the attendees. Thanks for staying with us through the session. My name is Carlos, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you all.